Boss with Premier Marketing. We're particularly excited about our conversation today because we have a guest speaker with us, Mr. Brent Ehlers, who is our Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Premier Marketing. And we're going to discuss some topics that are basically things you need to know at this point in time, be it pre-AEP as we discussed today, or any other time of the year when you're looking at some things that you need to do in order to make yourself and your agency successful. What we have here is basically some information about us, our portfolio, the wonderful products that we have and offer to the public through you, the independent insurance agent. But today we're going to concentrate on some of the opportunities we have with the multiple carriers that are out there that are contracted with our organization. We're going to chat a little bit about our incredible software system, which is the Medicare Center, and some of the changes that have come about with that program. Will give us an opportunity to look at other ways to market, bring in other income streams to our agency through the different ancillary products that we offer as well, particularly since they fill some of the shortfalls that we have with what Medicare offers currently. And we'll talk about some of the different marketing pieces or the marketing agendas that we can do together to help ensure your success, not only pre-AEP and into AEP, but all year round. So what we'll do today is start out with an introduction of our VP of Sales and Marketing. Brent, thank you very much for coming on with us today and chatting with us about the opportunities that we have. One of the first things a lot of agents have at this particular point in time is a ton of information coming to them from multiple organizations, from carriers themselves that talk about some of the offerings that they have right now and moving into 2022. So if you don't mind, will you give us a bit of perspective about what you're seeing from your point of view in conjunction with the conversations that you've had with these carriers, talking about the expansion, some of the benefit changes, and what we're seeing with a little bit of a more novel approach of many of the carriers doing add-ons and extra benefits to address the social determinant of health needs. So Brent, thanks for coming on. Can you give us a little bit of idea as to what you're seeing for the opportunities that we have moving forward in AEP?
You bet, John, and I appreciate being able to do this. Again, for those of you that may or may not know, Brent Ehlers, VP of Sales and Marketing at Premier, been here at Premier for over 20 years now. So I feel like I've gone through many rigors of many AEPs. They're all great, even the challenges that we've seen out there with many of the carriers, whether they're coming, going, or growing, or other types of things that we've dealt with. So it's what a great industry to be in, and this is the time of the year where there's always the anxiousness and the what's going to happen, and especially with what's going on still in the United States with the pandemic and some of those challenges around that, which I think that we've been able to overcome as a group. And I can't say enough about how the agents have really stepped up. So this is something that I think is for me, it's something to talk a little bit about the information that I've been able to gather over the last month with carrier rollout meetings, as you very well know. And it's something. Let's talk a little bit about where we go from here, what we're seeing at this point. And I think, as a lot of people know, there's things that can potentially change, but maybe there's more perspective that's on the horizon per se. But John, you ask a great question, or asked to talk about what we're seeing from the carrier's perspective, and everything that we see when there are carrier rollout meetings or carrier conversations is around growth. There is such an opportunity for the carriers, but more so for agents, with consumers needing to have the right care, needing to have the experts to make sure that they are aligned properly with the providers that they go see, the prescriptions that they're on, and make sure that they understand the opportunities. And within that, there's such a major opportunity out there from an agent's perspective to make sure that they learn and understand who is the prominent players in their markets. What we have seen, and not to really pull out specific carriers, because I think we would probably do some an injustice per se, but because we do work with a lot of the larger national carriers, as well as some more that are more regionalized and things like that. To a carrier, even the ones that maybe only work in a few states or a handful of states, to a carrier, every carrier that we work with is expanding for this AEP and into 2022. I think that speaks volumes to what the commitments are from these carriers. Again, going back to the redundancy that I'll probably say many times on this call about opportunity for agents, but we have a wealth of opportunity as we move forward, and the carriers understand that. Not only have we seen expansion in the existing states with a lot of the carriers that we work with, but also we've seen added states being added to portfolios for carriers that maybe haven't reached certain markets. There's a reason for that. There is specific reasons for not only adding from a growth perspective, but also what can be offered through networks that have been worked on, through acquisitions that now have taken place as we go into 2022. So many things are going to be into the rationale or reason as far as why expansion into certain specific counties and or states. But here to say is that to a carrier, we are seeing that across the board. So as it's constantly being said, is that carriers are seeing something to spread out to, and from our end to spread out to you, the agent, to make sure that there's an understanding that this is something that's going to go on well past this AEP. I think we will continually see expansion as we move forward, not just 2022, but there's carriers that are talking about business through 2025 from an expansion perspective. As far as benefit upgrades go, very few carriers, and I know that this is a superficial statement, and more down and dirty needs to happen as far as having conversations with marketers to understand, or carrier reps to understand the actual benefits. But very few carriers, very few did not actually upgrade their benefits. Pretty much across the board, plans were being upgraded, whether it's copays, co-insurance, you name it. Plans were being upgraded across the board. And I think that that's a great thing for consumers to be able to pick which plan works best for them based on the healthcare needs that they currently need or potentially are looking for, as far as making sure that their plan is even better. So that's a comfort, knowing that we are seeing not only expansion, and it's not just that, hey, we're throwing a plan out there, but also that the benefits on the current plans are being upgraded. And that is an outstanding thing for consumers. It's an outstanding thing for agents to make sure that you are educated, that you understand who is in your market, what plans changed for the better, so you understand better as far as which ones to market. To add to that, and probably not necessarily the most important, but it's something that we've seen over the last few years. I know, John, you've talked a lot about carriers really diving into these add-ons or extras. Dental benefits became all the rage a few years ago, and they continually get more put into them by many carriers. But we're also seeing a lot of different benefits, whether it's the flex cards or it's the over-the-counter benefits or transportation, or you can pick, with some carriers, you can pick what extra benefit that makes sense for you and your lifestyle. And I just think that that's fantastic. That tells me that we're trying to get to the consumer instead of just throw something against the wall and then say, this is our plan. This is really trying to meet the consumer's needs and where they are. And I think that knowing that and being able to sell to that is something that all agents are going to want to know about.
That's awesome. So the expansion piece of this is not only geographic, it's the benefits as well. So that's an awesome opportunity, because it's all over the country now. Where in the past, you remember the old fee for service days, Brent, where it was kind of, this county you can do it, this county you can't. So it's just a new animal.
Right.
It's really one of I think the strengths of our organization is the fact that not only do we offer these programs, but we have the opportunity for subject matter experts, the agent success managers, to visit with individuals about these opportunities and kind of narrow down the focus to the agent's particular market. And I think that's a great strength of what we offer. and a great opportunity. So when we look at all these different things that are available to us now, Brent, and all the wonderful opportunities in specific markets, how can an agent be in a position in order to take advantage of that? What do they have to do in order to access all these carriers, particularly in the Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement and PDP space? What are some of the contracting things they have to do? Are certifications necessary? Are ready to go, the ready to sell reports that we always get? What is necessary for an agent to be able to not only discuss the opportunity in their market with an agent success manager, but be ready to go now and into AEP? So what does that entail?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, when you're working with Medicare Advantage and PDP carriers wanting to get contracted, the certification process is obviously one of those things that each carrier has their own little different spin to. But to start with is that I think it's key for an agent, and I know a lot of these conversations have already been had. They've been had over the last few weeks, a month, or what have you. But they're going to continue to be had as we move closer and closer to AEP, to where there's more of an understanding of who the players are per se, what the products are per se in specific markets. So first you would want to have conversations, as you pointed out, with the subject matter experts. The marketing team that we have at Premier, you say this, I don't want to say this lightly at all, but I really mean it. I put them up against anybody. Their expertise, the number of years, the total number of years and of AEPs that they have gone through. I speak of myself being 20 years at Premier. We've got a lot of marketers that have been on the front line, since that fall of 05, when this whole thing started to get real crazy. And obviously there's been many changes, but we've had marketers that are still here that started back then. So the first thing is to make sure that you are aligned with one of those if you're not already. We'll obviously give you the detailed information on how to do that toward the end of the call, but I think that it's important to get aligned with a marketer, with a subject matter expert, to find out which carriers, if you're not already aligned with those. As I said prior, is that each carrier has a little bit different process as it pertains to getting appointed. Many people, carriers, are doing things online, so it's a contracting link that's going to be sent. Some carriers, most carriers, I should say, is you're not going to get appointed with carrier, X, Y, Z, whatever, unless you have your certifications completed. Most carriers are going to, without going through each one, most of them are going to accept AHIP. I think we all know this, but there is what I would consider a generic certification process. AHIP's been the most popular. There's others out there with the Gormans and the NAHU, which is new this year, depending on how you call it. So that's going to be a must. And then, as pointed out, each carrier is going to have either their own specific slant, and it's going to be a more narrow carrier-based certification process, or there's going to be some that take it a little bit further because they want to make sure that agents understand the ins and outs of what the requests are for that specific carrier. So it's extremely important that not only is the right carriers for your markets that you're marketing in, and there's a deep conversation there, but it's the making sure that there is the contracting and certification is completed. Now's the time to do it. It's probably something that's already happening, and you're not too late now, but it does get to be pretty much it gets to be a backlog as we get closer and closer to the marketing period of AEP, which kicks off October 1st.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of agents look at the certification process not only as a necessity, but a way to keep up in the market. That's one of the neat things about what we do. You have to be in constant study in order to make certain that you're current with the market. And doing so with multiple carriers also gives us the opportunity to do things much differently than even 10 years ago. The emphasis on the electronic process, starting with contracting all the way through, can be a huge difference. And I think that's what really differentiates our organization with Premier Marketing is the fact that we offer a lot of those services without cost to the agent. And one of those key tools that are out there is the Medicare Center. Can you tell us a little bit, or would you tell us a little bit about Medicare Center overall and some of the things that are being updated with it and how it's happening as a resource to help folks sell more efficiently and compliantly?
You bet. This is something that you cannot talk about without having a smile on your face. This is something that is, if not the shining star, one of the shining stars of not only working with someone like Premier, being it's proprietary within at Integrity, and us being a partner, but it has become the enrollment tool that folks we work with. And it is a tremendous tool during AEP, but it's a tremendous tool all year round, because we definitely see the marketplace not shifting, but it is more of a 12 months out of a year enrollment system. But AEP, the numbers are astronomical. The growth of the number of not only agents that are signing up for this, but also the number of enrollments that are being taken off of or utilizing Medicare Center grow so astronomically. The numbers are absurd. But for those of you that don't know what Medicare Center is, it has had many iterations. Each year, it's trying to get better and better and better, with the focus of trying to have there be a better ease of business for not only the interaction for the agent to write their applications electronically this way, instead of having to go out to each carrier to complete these or to use their carrier tools. And the carrier tools are exceptional. There's no, let's not say that they're not. But it also marries the agent with the consumer as far as how enrollments can be taken. As I said, Medicare Center has changed. I think this will be I probably say this wrong, but I think this is our fourth AEP. The first one was dipping a toe into this space, thinking, we better take a look at this. We know carriers are promoting their e-apps, and they should be. It's not only ease of business, but it's getting the coverage quicker. It's getting the agent paid quicker. It's many of those things all together. And we had, I think, 3 carriers on there to start with, just to see how this was going to work. It evolved tremendously the next year into 10 carriers, and then last year I think we were 20 plus or whatever, and now the number is such a large number, because we want to make sure when there are comparisons that conversations are being had and comparisons are being made, is that the consumer is receiving all the information, that the agent is being the one educating and saying, here's the plans in the area, based on what you're telling me, these are the plans that would work best for you, based on the health care that you're looking for or needing from a plan. So the changes that are happening, how it best affects the agent. There's a single sign-on, and you're going to have access to a Medicare app, Medicare Link, as well as CSG. Medicare app and Link are utilizing third parties to do the enrollments, but there's a single sign-on process to where you go in, and then based on the carrier, you can do your comparisons from there and do your enrollments from there. There's a scope of appointment process that's a texting system, which has gone over extremely well. You talk about ease of business. That's just a huge part of being able to have it be easier for the consumers as well as the agent. The upgrades from last year to this year, I firmly believe that we put a CRM system built in there. It was fairly generic, but it was something to throw out there as a 1.0 or a 100 version. This year has really been ramped up as far as being able to upload lists of your folks that you have that are policyholders, to where you have the information there. So that's something that's certainly exciting. You're just throwing it up there and you have it all there instead of utilizing 2 different systems. This is something that's very exciting from that standpoint. As I made mention before, we are trying to put the right carriers on here, and we're trying to make it more robust. And so that's something that, we have continually done as far as making sure that there's a large number of carriers on there. There's a lot more back end that goes into that, but it's all worth it. And when I speak about worth, for those of you that are not working with us on Medicare Center or not utilizing it, I didn't say probably one of the things that might ring true or be a more popular statement, but there is no cost to it. I think that is something that we're not charging agents to be able to do this. We just want to make it easier for you, the agent, and we also want to make it a better experience for consumers and as far as how we're working with carriers as well. So all in all, as I said, this is, especially during AEP, we have so many things that Premier does that I'm super proud of, but Medicare Center is definitely a star when it comes to when you talk about AEP, gearing up to AEP. This is certainly something that, as I said, big smile and a lot of work and kudos go to the folks that work on this stuff, because this is a big deal for the industry.
And not inexpensive for an organization such as ourselves to offer it as well. But one of the things I think that really rings true with this is we had a number of agents and the public a couple of years ago have some stumbles with the plan finder on the CMS tool, with the information on the medications and the other things being available through the system so they can act more effectively in a year-to-year review. And I think with Medicare Center, having that detail, as you mentioned, being able to download the client information, should it not already be in there in the system, enables us to be more effective during AEP, but gives us that cross-selling opportunity throughout the year. So a great tool. You have the resources in there as well, the different references that are available for you to use, not only a tool, but the proper tool. There's a lot of talk out there about all the FMOs use the same technology, that sort of thing. And I think to a degree that's true, but when you have a single sign-on and 3 different engines to power it, it really does differentiate ourselves from a lot of the other marketing organizations out there that are speaking with agents. So awesome opportunity.
Yeah. John, I will say this is just to close the loop on the conversation about Medicare Center, which, there has been, webinars and so many other training tools. I would challenge any agent that's potentially listening to this. I would challenge you to get on, learn more about Medicare Center, get on one of the webinars. There will be continually more and more information as we get closer to AEP that you'll be able to learn more about it. But if you're not currently using electronic, technology as far as how you're doing your enrollments, or you've yet to really take it, serious or taken the leap, I really would challenge you to take a look at this and then come back and say, I don't think that that's something I can use. This is a very, it's so robust that, we're leaving out so much information because as some of the things that you talked about that you'll find once you're in there, there's a lot of training in there. There's just a lot that's in it. But knowing and not trying to be naive, the number one reason why you use it is for enrollments. And so that's what we talk about. But as I said, I would challenge any agent to get on there, learn as much as they can about it, ask the questions, work with your frontline, your marketers that we had spoke about before, to bring you up to speed. I think that it will not only help your business, it will make it more efficient. You'll be able to free up more time to grow your business, spend more time, learning about other things you can do for your clients and things like that. So there's multiple reasons why you want to work with this.
It's been a great tool for agents during the pandemic, the last year and a half, the so-called new normal. It's a different world out there, and this can really, really help folks. And we've seen agents really benefit not only from this tool, but be able to implement it in different fashions, because we're not going back to the way things were. A lot of folks want things delivered electronically. Even if you're in a system where you've done a face-to-face and follow up with this, great tool, as you mentioned, to be more effective and efficient, and keeps you compliant as well. So it's awesome. You can't speak enough about this organization offering such a thing. Like you said, free, the magical word we don't talk about in the MA world.
Right.
Free.
Right.
But I think one of the really cool things too, kind of in closing on my big mouth, is the fact that this gives you the opportunity to address the needs of a Medicare beneficiary across the board, because there's not one answer that is proper for everybody. This gives people the MAPDP information, but the CSG component not only gives us the planning opportunities, but a way to properly address the Medicare supplement market,
Right.
which for NAEP, that's a big part of what we do as well. So we don't want to leave anything on the table. This really is an invaluable tool. So, and I thank you for that description. When we talk about some of the different things that are out there for agents, and we speak to the opportunities of the carriers, you mentioned a bit about some of the neat extras that MA programs have as well. It's interesting to note that even though there may be extras in these plans, they don't obviously address all the needs of a beneficiary or whatever is necessary for an agent to not only earn extra, but close doors for someone to come into their client's home. So when we speak about ancillary products, we talk about some of the different programs that are out there and what plans can really make an agent effective. In your opinion, Brent, what would be some of the first tools that you would use in the ancillary arena that can really help a person not only be successful year round, but for AEP as well? So what would you do as an agent with these different programs? What would you introduce into the household?
Well, let me start off by making this comment. I think each agent needs to challenge themselves to constantly be educated on what is being offered, what is in the best interest of the consumers that you're talking to, whether they're current clients slash policyholders of yours, or you're going into a market and you're trying to find to build your book. I think that it behooves all of us. I think it's something that we talk about a lot. I mean, I know I speak a lot about it as far as being in the business for a long time, constantly updating, upgrading yourself, making new versions of yourself. By doing that in a smart way, by educating yourself on what's being offered and why these plans are being offered. They're not just products that are being thrown out there to say, hey, we add on more premium and add on more cost to someone that already has a health plan. The best thing to do, and you made comment to it when we were talking about Medicare Center, the best thing to do with ancillary selling outside of educating yourself is trying to understand each client as themselves, trying to understand that what health plan is best for them in where they sit. Is it, they have the original Medicare. Is it a Medicare supplement with a PDP standalone? Is it an MAPD that has the PDP benefits inside of it? Which one works better? Which one works better from a network perspective, or with their providers, I should say? And then from there, trying to truly understand what makes most sense. There's products that we see a lot of agents have success with. Primarily, there's going to be two that I'll probably focus on more than anything. And we have seen more and more agents over the last few years sell more dental plans than we ever have. It is remarkable. And I think a lot of it is that we are seeing more agents that are educating themselves. I don't know that it is a match that was struck to where, now is the time to sell it. No, the time to sell it was in the past as well. There is more education being done to understand that if I have a Medicare supplement plan and I don't have dental, typically I'm not going to have dental, added with any of those plans as being extras, obviously. So it's something that we're definitely seeing is something that it's not necessarily pushed by the agent, to where I understand agents are uncomfortable because you want to make sure that they're in the right health plan. Boy, I don't want to ask for extra money, or I don't want to burden them. I don't want to lose my first sale. We get that. But what we're seeing a lot of is, just asking the question, if they don't have dental benefits, let's say, and I'll get to it here in a second on a Medicare Advantage plan, if the question's just asked, who do you have your dental insurance through? Who do you have your dental coverage through? What do you do when you go to the dentist? I think what we're seeing is that also a lot of consumers are asking that I want dental coverage. I had it on my group plan that I had that I lost. Medicare, the insurance that I have now is more cost effective than my group plan, but I want that benefit, so it's a must. So it's a two-way street. We're seeing consumers through our agents that are asking for it. Plus, we're seeing if the agent just throws it out there, is that who do you have it to strike that conversation? Because I think that there is not through anybody's not through anybody not talking about it or educating consumers, but a lot of consumers many times don't understand fully what they have in their plans. So I think just asking the question, educating at the beginning, asking the questions, listening are a huge part from that aspect, a lot from the dental, and we've seen a lot more sales with it due to these reasons. The other product is going to be hospital indemnity. Hospital indemnity products have been around for quite some time. It was something that you almost weren't supposed to talk about it with the Medicare Advantage plan, and obviously that's changed over time. But our belief at Premier, and it will always be near and dear to me, is that if I'm really trying to do what's right for my client, the consumer that's sitting across from me or over the phone or however I'm doing my business, if I'm really trying to do best by them and I put them and I move them into a Medicare Advantage plan, you're really doing your best if you explain to them is that, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, your plan now is going to cover this. We walk through it all. There's little to no premium. Okay, a lot of carriers are still doing zero premium plans on Medicare Advantage. There is a plan out there that if you go into the hospital, and there's other things that can be added, ambulance rider and some other things that are popular, at minimal cost, especially when you're talking about, the earlier ages of people going on to Medicare. We took you off of the one plan that had quite a few costs. Now we're putting you on a plan that has nothing up front. You only need to pay when you need care, but you can also pay at a small amount if you do need care, and you will receive a reimbursement for when you do. So when you do the math and you, as I said, educate yourself so you can then educate the consumers that you're talking to and your clients, it would only make sense to offer plans like this, like a hospital indemnity plan, alongside a Medicare Advantage product. Now, having said that, you want to be smart with who you're talking to about these plans. It's definitely not something that you're going to work with the low income or the dual folks on, because those folks aren't going to be able to, should not be ones that are signing up for these plans. It should be the folks that you save the money up front, and you're looking for ways to defray when you do have to pay these costs that are a part of the Medicare Advantage plan. So if I can point out the two things, when I talk about education being number one, I'm going to talk about that. I preach all the time about educating, whether it's, agents, consumers, us here, we should be educating ourselves all day long, to make sure that what we're doing is on the cusp and the right thing and all that. But these are two products that I really believe, it goes back to the challenge thing, but I really believe that if there are things that you haven't looked at or you're worried about putting a second or third product in a home, don't be. You're doing right by your clients. They will thank you when the time comes if they don't already up front. And you're making sure that you're putting them in the right products, because that's what you're there for. I'm there to make sure that I'm not just get in and get out. I got a health plan with them. I'm done. Move on to the next one. No, you want to make sure that you're the expert. You don't want to have it be to where you get a phone call or you find out on a statement that you potentially lost somebody because you didn't educate enough on these products that can certainly help them when they need help with whether it is the dental, vision, hearing, or something that defrays the costs of going into the hospital or other benefits that you would get from a hospital indemnity plan. So those are two specific ones. There are others, John, you know that. You do a lot of the training and webinars and work with a lot of our carriers and do an outstanding job with it. There are a lot of others, and it does not to take away, but as we go into AEP, those are two that I highly want to identify as something to where it goes back to the challenge agents to ask the question. We will ask the question, have you taken a look at these? This is how you position them and do right by your consumers or your clients.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's the resources that Premier Marketing makes available to an agent really makes it simple to find out, okay, when we talk about ancillary products, carriers, all those sorts of things, we do regular webinars on why Premier, and we detail some of that. We also talk about the walking back into some of the systems, and the part of the Medicare Center under CSG, there's actually that cross-selling tool is and part of the CSG tool that really makes it easy for us to transition in different products. And we've done webinars on what Medicare doesn't cover, and that can make a big difference because one person's hot button may not be the same. But to your point, Brent, the dental, vision, hearing products, the hospital indemnity programs, they're a natural adjunct to the conversation we have or should be having, as you said, with educating our clients, educating ourselves first, of course, but making certain that we're able to cover their needs. And that's one of the strengths of our organization, because the folks know, hey, I need information about other programs. I've got that resource with us here too. So we talk about the different opportunities. We talk about the tools that Premier offers when it comes to electronics and the back office support. That's, I think, non-parallel paralleled within the industry. We also make a key point of working toward what's our plan. We've done AEP preparation type of webinars as well, but when we speak of marketing, because a lot of what we do is so heavily regulated and we need to keep compliant and all the things that come as part of that, we talk about what Premier offers. Can you tell us a little bit about a mindset on the marketing component, what folks should be doing or can be doing, and how we at Premier can really help with that? Can you give us some insight into that?
You bet. And I will say this is as we go into AEP, if you currently have a book of business, AEP is going to be the time of the year where, consumers, whether they're, clients of yours or somebody that's looking, this is more about switching plans, right? It's a time of the year to where is my plan A, how does it stack up versus something else out there? And agents, as I said, do their due diligence and make sure that they understand what are the plans, and as far as how they're competitive, in the markets that they have consumers or clients in, as well as who they're going to market to. So number one, I think retention is going to be first on mind, and that should be, as far as making sure that you're doing right by your clients to retain those. But really second, but not second to the retention piece, is marketing. And it's something that I think, anybody that's worked in the senior health space, trying to get into it or sell more to Medicare clients, many, not all, because some have, a very good situation to where they don't have to spend a lot of money on marketing to new folks. But we do run into many agents out there that want to grow their book. They want to do it in a big way. Some want to do it, to potentially half their book or double their book. And it's things that, we have been fortunate enough that we work really closely with agents on putting together marketing plans. As I'd mentioned and talked about, and you can see some bullet points here, is that, do you have your mailers ordered? Do you have a plan? And I think that's a big part of it. You have to understand, you run your business like a business, old adage, obviously, but you have to understand what type of costs will you put into your business to meet that growth that you're looking for. That's going to be a big part of it. That's where we can help. We have, as we mentioned before, the subject matter experts, the marketers on the front line. They're going to be able to help with putting together a plan as far as, if you wanted to do mailers or you wanted a different type of lead source, we have a few different ones that you can work with. This is what your expectations should be. This is what the cost is. You can go off of historic numbers as far as, how many leads you get back, per 1,000 mailers that you send out, how many you should expect to be able to get appointments with, and then how many sales you should get out of that. You can go through all of those things. And I think that's important. It's important to have a plan from one, as I said, a retention perspective, if you already have a book. If you don't necessarily have a book, or you're looking more of a full growth mode, then I think it's important to put a plan together based on, as I said, how much can you spend? How much do you want to spend based on what you've educated yourself or had these conversations with these subject matter experts, and then get that plan put together. There are right now, let's not kid ourselves, there are right now a lot being done as far as getting mailers sent out. So it is time, not past time, you can still do it, but it is time to really get that plan put together. And we can help with that. We can help in a number of different ways, as I said before, as far as different types of leads or help with some marketing. I think that it's extremely important to have a plan. I think that the thought is that not just talking agents in general, but just anybody that runs their own business thinks, the thought is that, oh, they're pretty smart. They run their own business. They have a plan. What we uncover a lot of times is that, there are just not a lot of questions being asked and or getting the answers to really say, let's help with that. Did you understand this? No, I didn't. Did you know that the cost actually is a lot less than what you thought it would be to be able to grow X amount or so? No, I didn't know that. So I think that it's important to have those conversations. If you haven't had them already, built inside of who I'm supposed to sell, what the products look like, what my marketing plan is, how I enroll people. We've walked through all this, what ancillary. I think all of this ties together, but really you have to be educated. You have to put a plan together for your success. Because I'll say this, that there is a lot of excitement and opportunity for this AEP. There's been a lot for the last few years. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm not trying to make it sound like this is the AEP. But this is an outstanding opportunity, this AEP, with the expansion we talked about, with the carrier commitment that's out there, and potential for you to learn about new products that you can offer and putting a marketing plan together. There's no holding back right now. Sky's the limit for what you're wanting. You just have to pick how much you want to grow, allow us to help with that. And I really think that you'll find the success that you're wanting based on your commitment, the time and energy, and the money that you want to put into it. I think it's sky's the limit.
There's the old adage that a goal without a plan is just a dream. And I think that's an important part of not only planning for AEP, but year round, because most people have to pay their electric bill in September, October, November as well. And so we have an opportunity with a lot of the new developments to not only plan for AEP, but boost our current sales and address the different opportunities that we have moving forward. And rolling it back to the Medicare centerpiece, it's nice to have that CRM in there so we can work with the folks that we've worked with in the past, do that retention work, give us the opportunity to address the people that are in our book of business, but the folks that we talked to in the past, we didn't sell. And it gives us a great way of reaching out to a built-in market. I mean, we talk to agents all the time. It's like, what are you going to be able to provide for us when it comes to support? And I think a lot of it, because of the different programs we have in play, the direct mail programs, 3 different ones, so you can upfront responses and the back end as well, but also having that tool to make certain that, man, today's environment, there's all the variants that are coming out with the different COVID piece. And much as what we had to do last year of being prepared to pivot, having those tools and having the plan in place ahead of time can make a huge difference as to whether or not we're successful or we're barking up a different tree trying to find a source of income. So I think that's awesome.
Right. I agree.
A lot of what we do too gives us an opportunity to offer some additional programs. So kind of as a wrap up, Brent, let's talk a little bit about Premier overall and some of the things that can come about with the help and support from our organization. So if you were an agent that's worked with Premier in one line in the past, one niche of our market, or you're new to our organization, what would you give as a brief synopsis as to why would you work with Premier?
No, that's great. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there, whether they're promising certain things, and certainly they can follow through on those. I'll say this, and I said it before about stacking up our group of marketers, but our staff as a whole. We have right around 115 employees. We do a lot of hands-on work from the back end, front end, what do you want to call it? But if I were to look for a group that really had my best interests, it would be Premier. And what do I mean by that is that we not only have the marketing expertise, we have licensing support. The size of our licensing team is very robust and as large as some carriers that we work with at times. We have a new business division that if you are still doing paper apps, which is great, we'll accept those and we'll help you with those to make sure that you're doing them correctly and getting them in and out of the carrier as quick as possible. We still have a robust warehouse of supplies and brochures that we have someone that's a perfectionist back there. He does an outstanding job putting everything together. So it's the whole synopsis, our whole understanding and idea of an agent's daily job and what they're trying to do that best fits the interests of consumers is all about how we can support. And we have tried to put together the best support system to make sure that all of those things become intertwined for success for the agent. And I think we've done a great job. We will continue to be looking ourselves in the mirror to make sure we don't stumble on this, but it's very vital and important for us here at Premier to continue on that path to make sure that the agent has everything they need to be successful. And we are not a deterrent, but we are only there to help accelerate.
Awesome. And there are a number of ways that an agent out there, be it a person that we have a current relationship with or the new people that can reach out and visit with us. And the recent update of our website, I think, is a really great tool for us to find a lot of that information. But you've got that toll-free number, 1-800-365-8208, or the website address at premiersmi.com. So different things that can roll through and get some different detail. You can get request information right off the site. So it's a great tool to use as well. So Brent, I want to thank you for coming on and illuminating some of the possibilities that we have in the market now and in the future, because a lot of what we've said is, well, we can do it all year round. It's just we need to be prepared for that intense period of the annual election period and how we can best affect not only our agency and our sales and our commissions and all that, but to your point, really define the needs of the people we serve, the Medicare beneficiary. And I think that's awesome that we have that opportunity to do so. So I think in closing, the 1-800-365-8208 number is a great place to start for a plan if you haven't got it in place. We've got some really nice things on our website under the agent resources that go into greater detail on the tools we have, the contracting process, all the pieces that make us successful, and a different way of making certain that we're able to talk to folks. So in closing, closing thoughts?
Well, I just want to wish everybody an outstanding AEP. As I said, we're very excited for the opportunity to be able to service and support the folks that we work with. We're very prideful people. We want to see your successes, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. If we've not worked with you in the past, give us a shot. I think you will be more than thrilled with what you get here, because we really feel that success is yours. Just got to put the time and energy into it, educate yourself, believe in it, and that's something we do. We believe in this business, and we're very passionate about it.
That's great. Brent, thank you for the input from this morning. We appreciate the time. We realize how incredibly busy they have you. You're a one-legged man at a tush kicking contest, and we appreciate you spending some time with us to get across the point that, hey, Premier Marketing may be your premier opportunity to do business now and in the future. So thank you so very much for that. We look forward to conversations in the future about different programs, but also the opportunity for us to talk to our customers, and that's the agent community. And thank you once again for that.
Hi there, I'm Tom Sheath, co-founder, managing partner of Premier.
Hi, I'm Brent Ehlers.
Hi, I'm Casey Dow.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Olson.
I am Jenny Hess.
Nate Rathbun.
I'm Nate Dowd, and I am Premier.
I am Premier.
I am Premier.
And we are Premier.